Hey guys, Neddy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Neddy, and starting fall of 2022, I will be a concept art student at Syn Studio Montreal. Well, that was a journey. After announcing that I would be going to art school and sharing parts of that journey here on YouTube, I've gotten a lot of questions regarding the program and my personal experience. Now that I have successfully completed art school, I thought I'll make a dedicated video highlighting some of those questions and wrap up this entire journey by answering one of the most commonly asked questions on the internet. Is art school worth it? If you're new to my channel, hi, hello, my name is Oge, also known as Neddy, and as I mentioned, I recently graduated from art school in April of 2024. Before I jump into the questions, real quick, here's some context for those of you who might not be aware. I attended Syn Studio Montreal for their concept art diploma program. The program lasted 18 months, which ran from September 2022 all the way to April 2024. Now, Syn Studio isn't your typical art school with a 4-year degree program like Art Center, SCAD, CalArts. Rather, it's more like an intense crash course program where you mainly focus on improving your skills and having a final industry portfolio by the end of the program. If you want to know more about the program in detail, then I'll have a link to their website down below. So let's just jump into the questions. So this first part is mainly about like applying to art school and the process of, selecting an art school, picking an art school and all that fun stuff. How did you choose Syn Studio over other art schools? I talk about this more in the video that I played earlier. But basically, I was looking for an affordable school within a short time limit that would also give me some sort of degree. And Syn Studio just happened to check all those boxes. What did the application process involve, and what tips do you have for future applicants? The good thing about this question is that I actually documented my entire application process here on YouTube, and I just rewatched the video yesterday, which honestly it made me cry from so much nostalgia because I can't believe that was like almost 2 years ago now. Syn Studio will send you a guide with all the requirements that you need to meet. It's a very straightforward process, and it mainly just requires that you have a well-polished portfolio. As I mentioned, documented the entire process. You can actually find that here in this playlist. I have my accepted art school portfolio that you can reference, as well as a video diary documenting the entire process. How does one apply to your school, and what does traveling and tuition look like? So hopefully I just answered the first half of your question right now. As for traveling and tuition, however, I don't know if it's the same as that now. Maybe things have changed, but I believe the tuition was 36 or about for the entire program. As for traveling, I am an international student, so of course I had to obtain a student visa. Syn Studio is in Montreal, Quebec, so the visa process is kind of a little bit different. Like you have to get a CAQ from the Quebec ministry before you can actually apply for a Canadian visa. It's a whole lot and very anxiety inducing, but as long as you provide all the required documents, you should be fine. What tips do you have for future applicants? First tip is a portfolio tip. Make sure to show your process. Even the messy sketches, they all want to see that. All the sketches, all the thumbnails, iterate. Remember that this is a concept art program and not a illustration program. Show a lot of concept art, show design processes, show creative ideas. They want to see that you're thinking like a concept artist. What was really helpful for me was to kind of give myself a little project and use that as a base. I find it's more fun that way, and also your portfolio kind of feels a lot more unified and personalized. Tip 2 is research. Do as much research as you can. It honestly amazes me how much people don't understand that the answers are out there. Like, just look for things. When I was applying, I was searching for portfolios, and it was so difficult, especially with Syn Studio. Since it's still pretty much a niche program, there isn't a lot on it out there, and most students don't actually post a lot of their stuff. But I was still able to find a lot of resources. Like, I found this old blog by a student from the 5 batches ago, and they just posted it there. I don't even think they remember that this is still online. It felt like I found an ancient relic. But yeah, research is really important. Syn Studio doesn't have a lot of information on there other than their website, and that was one of the main reasons I decided to share a lot more about it, just to help people who are struggling already, because I know how much I struggled. And lastly, tip number 3 is reach out to fellow applicants. For a lot of schools like Art Center, SCAD, CalArts, I don't know. There are a lot more people who tend to apply to those programs simply because there's a higher intake level. However, Syn Studio, it's very difficult to find other people who are applying because it's pretty niche. But when applying, I was able to find a Discord server Unfortunately, the server isn't available anymore because it was shut down. But on that server, there were like past Syn Studio students, applicants, and people who were interested in the program. And through that server, I was able to ask a lot of questions, talk to a lot of current students and past students. Some of them even gave me feedback on my portfolio, which was very helpful. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Reddit posts as well of people reaching out to each other on Reddit asking if, they want to meet up, if they want to talk and chat. Just look for people who are also applying because it can be very, very, very helpful. Even to see what their applications are like, and you can kind of gauge your competition. I feel like I've been too close to the camera. I'm just gonna move back because I don't want my face on your screen. It's weird. Anyways, moving on to the next set of questions. These ones focus on my art school experience specifically. What was a typical day like for you as an art student? This one is fun because a typical day like for me really varied. In term 1, a typical day was good. I would wake up, go to class, have my class, and come back. If we had any homework, I'll work on the homework that night or sometimes the night before. But for the most part, it was fine. However, a typical day in term 6 was totally different because this was when I was really trying to catch up with my portfolio. So basically I had 0 days, 0 time off. A typical day was just work on my portfolio. Funny enough, when I was coming to art school, I was planning to share more like day in the life type videos. That was my goal, to make like vlogs. But as you can see, that did not happen. Art school takes a lot of your time, especially a program like Syn Studio that is very, very intense and all in. It's kind of difficult to document that process when you have so much work to do, so much deliverables. And honestly, everything feels like a fever dream right now because it all happened so fast. How did you manage your time and stay organized with all the projects and assignments? I didn't. I'm joking. It was difficult, but yeah, time management is something that I'm still trying to work on. I tend to overestimate my abilities and underestimate the time I have to do those things. So I really struggled with meeting deadlines, and it's something I still struggle with now. Honestly, I struggled with that before Syn Studio even. But I am pretty type A. I like organization and planning. So some of the things that did help me was like planning my weeks on Notion, planning my assignments, and just organizing everything on Notion. I used to bullet journal heavily, and I still bullet journal. I believe I still bullet journaling as that like first and second term of like art school. But that stopped. I just didn't have time, and I found that Notion was a lot more streamlined. But yeah, planning out your days, writing your tasks, trying to meet those deadlines is something that unfortunately I cannot give you the best advice on. I'm sorry. What resources, books, online courses, and tools were most helpful during your studies? For the most part, other than the program, I didn't really reference a lot of online art resources because I was getting most of my education in school anyways. But for programs, I would say like Notion and Milanote was really good. This video is not sponsored by the way, but I discovered Milanote when watching a YouTube video from an artist. I don't remember which artist exactly because they sponsor a lot of artists now. But I found that and I was like, I need this. I absolutely need this, and I fell in love with it. I use Milanote to plan my homework, all my art school projects, and especially my graduation portfolio. Like Milanote saved me just having everything there. In the video where I shared my portfolio, I kind of shared a little glimpse into my graduation portfolio Milanote board, but I'll also have that link below so you can see how I kind of organized that. By the way, when I created that board, I never planned to post it or share it on the internet, so it's very chaotic. I'm saying this now. If you see any spelling errors, just bear with me because I don't have the energy to go and edit it. Real quick, I also forgot to mention Canva. I used it for basically the entire layout of my portfolio and it was extremely helpful. I found it more useful than using Photoshop or Procreate simply because I could resize easily. It had a lot of available assets that I could throw in. Basically, it just gave me a lot more room for edits. Anyways, don't sleep on Canva, guys. It's honestly a good resource and it's not as bad as most designers make it seem to be. How did you handle creative blocks or burnout during your time in art school? It's a little bit of a PTSD question, but I'll try to answer my best. I really struggled with a lot of mental health issues throughout my experience of art school. Not because of Syn Studio, I want to highlight that. It was a me problem. I made this clear. Burnout was definitely one of that. I never experienced burnout before and I didn't even know I was burnt out until like towards the end of the program. Creative block was another serious one because I was always thinking I had to make work that I felt would be approved by my instructors and classmates. Yeah, how did I deal with that? It kind of took a long time. It took me like 4 terms, unfortunately, before I realized that I needed to, one, take things slow, and two, stop overthinking. I won't lie, there's still like traces of creative burnout lingering in me right now, and moving forward, that's definitely something I want to try to revitalize and bring back to life. What were some of your most memorable projects or assignments you worked on? This question is beautiful because if you watch my last video, I was talking about the importance of looking back on your past work to see how far you've come. And just a few days ago, I actually rewatched all my art school recap series, and some of those artworks, I hadn't seen them in a while, and I was just like, okay. The ones that I can think of right now at the top of my head, I'll put them on the screen. The first one was the puppet card that I did in term 1 for sketching in production. That homework was for 2 weeks, and the first week I did the first half of the homework, hated it, and decided to start again. And I just let myself be. Like, I was so free doing it. I was like, I'm gonna use a color palette I like, gonna do something that's really up my alley, and I'm not going to try to impress. And I think it turned out pretty cute. The second one I can think of at the top of my head is the cyber mythological character. I think that character is still one of the most successful character design. I had never done sci-fi before, and I'm still not really a sci-fi girly, but I think she turned out pretty nice. I love running materials, shiny stuff. I've said this over and over, and that was just so fun. If you want to see all the art that I made during art school, term 1, term 2, and term 3, then I'll have that linked here. How did your instructors influence your growth as an artist? Oh, this is such a good question. Thank you for asking. I would say the best part of the program was definitely my instructors. All of them were phenomenal, amazing artists. And honestly, I still can't believe that I got so much information from people who work in the industry, are currently in the industry, and just like so much knowledge to share. Just having someone with more experience point out your problems and flaws is just really, really valuable. And honestly speaking, I don't think I would have noticed a lot of habits and patterns in my work if I didn't have one of my instructors point it out to me. Also, instructors were very helpful, not only with like art skills, also just life in general. Some of our instructors gave us really, really like personal experiences that they had, you know, in this arts industry in life, and I learned a lot just by hearing them talk and sharing their own experiences. And I truly give all my improvements to them because literally they made the program to me. What's one art fundamental that was the hardest to improve on? Perspective. Perspective is difficult, guys. With my environment, I'm not proud of it. And one of the reasons why I struggle with environment so much is perspective. I really noticed how bad I was in perspective. I am happy to say that my understanding of perspective did improve. However, I still struggle with it till this day, and it's something I really, really, really have to work on. I somehow happen to come close to the camera again, so I'm just going to actively move backwards because I really feel like I'm up in your face. I hope that's not true intruding. Okay, I'll move my mic as well. Okay, perfect. What would you say are some courses that had the greatest impact on your art journey? Definitely the anatomy class. That's one. Gosh, it was such an amazing experience. I will not lie, it was difficult, like everything, but I really saw a drastic improvement in the way I draw characters and understanding proportions of the human body after anatomy class. Like right now, I'm a lot more comfortable than I have ever been drawing characters. And as someone who mainly focuses on character designs, anatomy class was really valuable for me. It was my first time drawing from life models, and I had never done that before. It was so cool. I felt like I was in this like arts student movie, romanticizing your life kind of vibe. I don't know. But whenever I stepped into the studio, the energy just felt different, you know what I mean? And it was the only time we had to draw traditionally on paper, which is, if not for that class, I would have barely drawn traditionally. So I'm grateful for that as well. Another class that I really, really enjoyed was, what's it called? I forget the name. Sean's class. What was Sean's class called again? I forget the name of the class, but I'll put it on the screen when I'm editing. but it was basically design principle class. I absolutely loved that class. Sean was an amazing teacher, and before attending Syn Studio, I really didn't know much about design and design principles. So I was really looking forward to, learn more about design principles. And I can happily say that it lived up to my expectations. I learned so much about design theory, design principles, and how to basically create a good design, how to take elements from something and apply it into concept art and all that fun stuff. It was so helpful. All the feedback was so amazing. And even though I still have a long way to go when it comes to design itself, I feel like the class was the best way to, dip my foot into that world and understand more, because now I can say I definitely have a better sense of design. What was the most challenging part of your graduation project? Brother, everything. No, I'm joking. Gosh, what was the most challenging part? Definitely. Okay, so I'll say like mentally, the most challenging part was definitely having to come to the realization that I was not going to be able to achieve everything I wanted to achieve, right? Like, I had so many high expectations, and realizing that all my dreams, like literally the things I've been looking forward to was not going to happen the way that I hoped for it to happen. It was very challenging to accept that. And I think I chose not to accept it early on, even when I was seeing the signs, because I kept trying to be like, no, I can still push through. I can still do it. And that made matters worse. But finally accepting it made me move on. Another challenging part would just literally be the imposter syndrome. Have you seen my classmates' portfolio, guys? If you haven't, actually, I don't think I've mentioned it. I'm going to link all their projects down below, the ones who at least have posted online. My classmates are phenomenal artists. I cannot stress how amazing these guys are. And being around them when I wasn't making any progress tripled my anxiety. Triple is even an understatement. I felt so anxious every time, and I just felt that imposter syndrome kicking me in the back. So that was definitely a challenge that I had to actively try my best to, overcome, because if you keep having that mindset, you're not going to improve. You have to compare yourself with your past self and not other people around you, because everyone is on their own individual journey. Do you currently have a job in the industry? How did you finance yourself? How was money and tuition like? And all that fun stuff. So this is like the money question. Do I have a job right now? In the industry, no. Do I have a part-time job? Yes. I had a part-time job for majority of the program simply because I live in Canada. I'm an international student. Tuition is expensive. Rent is expensive. Cost of living is expensive. And I wasn't going to have put all that on my parents. I'm very lucky and privileged that my parents were willing to support me during this experience. So they did fund and finance my tuition. However, rent and cost of living was in my own hands. So I had to have a part-time job simply because I needed to eat and then a place to sleep, okay? It definitely did add to my anxiety. So I advise you, if you do want to apply for the program and you want to work part-time, it is possible. I did do it, but it is a little bit stressful. The final part of this video is a reflecting on my journey, reflecting on my experiences, because some of y'all nosy and want to know how this experience went for me personally. If you could go back, what would you have done differently? This is a very good question, because I'm not one to have regrets. I tend not to be regretful because I feel like everything happens for a reason, and you can always get something even from the worst situations. So I'm not really regretful. I just don't live in the past that much. No, I live in the past. I don't regret a lot of my decisions. But if I was to go back and do something differently, I would say I would be more present in the program. And by present, I don't only mean actually going for a lot of my classes, because at some point I missed a lot of my classes just because it was so difficult for me to get off of bed. But I don't even mean physically being present, but mentally. Even when I was in class, I would still struggle to pay attention simply because I was thinking about all these problems and stress that was going on in my head. What is one piece of advice you would give your past self? Other than be more present and don't stress over anything, I would literally just say, girl, be true to yourself. Throughout the entire experience, I kept trying to be someone that I wasn't, because I was trying to impress everyone, based around so many amazing and talented artists. You kind of wanted to fit in and not let anyone feel like you didn't belong, or trying to basically meet up with others, and I lied to myself a lot. I lied to myself that I liked things that I didn't like just because I wanted to not seem, weird for not liking that stuff. And I held back in a lot of like things that I would have genuinely wanted to like create. I would be more true to myself, be more present, and also just not overthink everything, because one of my biggest worries was if I would actually complete the program. I was really scared, and at some point I was talking to my parents about dropping out, and it was hard. But look at me, I graduated. So all that stress for no reason. Like why was I crying that much? Like, we're fine, aren't we? So literally don't overthink everything, because I am a chronic overthinker. Lastly, the question you've all been waiting for: was art school worth it? 100 freaking percent yes. I'm honestly glad that I took some time to film this video and didn't film it right after art school, because if you had asked me the week after graduation, I'd have probably had different things to say, mainly because I was still in that, like, under that pressure, and everything still felt like, so I would have probably said, I don't know, like, I don't think so. I felt like I didn't make progress. I felt like it was a waste of money. I felt like it was a waste of time. I felt like I wasn't present. But since taking my time to relax and review my past work, like that last video, really helpful. I really see things in a different perspective. And honestly speaking, I have grown so much as an artist. I've learned so much. I've gotten to meet so many amazing, talented people that I would have never even dreamt of meeting. Experienced something that, honestly speaking, I wouldn't have imagined experiencing. All because I decided to do something I usually wouldn't have. All because I decided to step out of my comfort zone. All because I chose to take the leap of faith. So yeah, 100%. If I could, I would do it all over again. This time, really living it to the fullest. Obviously, this isn't me saying you have to go to art school, or you should go to art school, or art school is the best thing to ever happen in the world. No. But as for me, my experience, it was totally worth it. So even after you're done with all your research, you're still in doubt, but you have this calling, like you really, really, really want to do it. If you can, and if you've done all your research, I'd say go for it, because honestly speaking, it was an experience, even with all its ups and downs, that I would totally do again. This time, not overthinking. That's the difference. No, I won't do it exactly how I did it, but like I'll still do it again. It was fun, and I can share the stories, help people, entertain people, and I think I really grew as an artist. As I mentioned in the beginning, this video is going to be the last art school related video, at least in a while, simply because I feel it's time for me to move on and continue my journey as an artist. I've said this over and over, but the journey never ends. I'm still going to make effort to improve. I'm going to get back to my self-study, and I just have so much that I want to do with the new skills and knowledge that I learned in art school. So if you're new to my channel and you would like to follow me along on this new journey, this new artist era that I'm about to enter, then please don't forget to subscribe. If you're interested in watching my entire art school journey from the beginning all through till now, I made a dedicated playlist to all my art school related videos that you can watch right here. Thank you so much once again for the continued love and support. If you asked any questions, I hope I was able to answer them in this video. And yeah, that's a wrap. Bye guys.